Hi, my name is Gregg Braden. My new book, The Turning Point, Creating Resilience in a Time of Extremes. The title pretty much says it all. We are living a time of extremes. This is a time unlike any that you and I have ever seen, certainly in our lifetimes, our parents have never seen. The kinds of things unfolding in our world that they're seeing now, neither did theirs, and it means that our lives are changing in ways that we're simply not used to and simply not prepared to deal with. One of the big shifts, I think, that has really caught a lot of people off guard is this fact that a new normal is emerging in our lives, in our world right now. A new normal. The changes that we're seeing, that so many people view as temporary changes, actually are the foundation of a new world that is emerging, but because it's never been acknowledged in the mainstream media, in a big way. We haven't had a BBC special or a CNN special or a glossy expose in the magazines we see at the airports. Many of us are waiting for the old world to get back to normal, for things to return to the way they used to be. And while we're waiting, we're missing the best part of life itself, and that is life itself. Let me give you an example. I think examples are always the best way to illustrate these ideas. Many of you know that my wife and I live in a rural community in northern New Mexico. Late last year, we were driving up into southern Colorado. We stopped at a convenience store for gasoline, and I asked the cashier what the economy was like in their community. And the woman didn't even look up from the cash register. She said, "Do you really want to know?" And I said, "Well, of course, I wouldn't have asked." And then she looked at me and she said, "Life here used to be good when the mines were open." She said, "But since the mines have closed, life has been hell." They are the largest employer. The mines were the largest employer in the entire county and in this community. Over 600 people worked in the mines above the village where I'd stopped for the gas. And I asked the woman, I said, 600 people are employed there when it's running. How many people live in your community? She says, 1,800 people. So a third of their community relied upon these mines for their income. And when the mines closed, everything stops. I said, that's got to be tough. What do people do while they're waiting for the mines to reopen? She said, they do anything they can. They chop firewood, they bale hay, they help their neighbors. She said, they put their lives on hold. This is why I'm telling you the story. She said, they stopped buying homes. They stopped getting married. They can't send their kids to school. They stopped having babies, waiting for things to get back to normal. I said, how long have the mines been closed? She said, 9 years. 9 years. These people have put their lives on hold, waiting for the world to return to the normal, the expectation that they are clinging to. And I think what I saw in that little village, that little community, is a microcosm of what so many of us are seeing in the world today. There is a sense that something happened at some time in the last few years and that the world began to change, and for many people we're clinging to an idea of the old world and the way it used to be that no longer exists, and we're waiting for that world before we allow ourselves to move forward. We've never been given the opportunity to mourn the passing of a way of life in the world so that we can let it go and make room to embrace the powerful, beautiful, sustainable new ways of thinking, the new technologies, the new jobs, the new ways of living in our communities. We must be willing to acknowledge what the facts are sharing with us. And I know it's difficult sometimes to let the old ways go. And the fact is that a new normal is emerging. The climate change that we're seeing, it's not going to go away in our lifetime. We must adapt to that climate change. It makes perfect sense. The economic problems, the economic crises that we're facing right now, those aren't going to go away anytime soon. That is becoming the new normal. We've got to adapt to those crises. The ways that we're seeing people interact with one another, the shortages of resources and food and water that we're seeing throughout the world, that's going to be with us in our lifetime. It makes perfect sense to adapt to these things and incorporate them into the plans that we make in our lives rather than acting surprised and we're caught off guard when they show up in our lives. This is the key to resilience. It's a key to thriving in a time of extremes. It's the key to embracing a powerful, new, beautiful, sustainable world that is already here if we can simply make room for it in our lives. So I want to thank you for everything that you're doing to birth this new world, to make room for the new possibilities. And I thank you for joining me as together we mourn the passing of a way of life and a way of living so that we can let it go to make room for the new.